What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports Daily NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host. It is Wednesday, November 3rd. That can mean only one thing. Pew, 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 pew. A Brady Quinn Football Show. Hey, happy belated birthday, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Willie. I appreciate that. Hope you had a
37?
wonderful week.
36?
I've missed you, man. It was a long week without us talking here on the Pick Six Podcast.
It sure was. What are you, 37, 36?
37 now, but I got to tell you, I've been well fed, very well fed.
Oh, you have?
I've been eating a lot of good meat from Butcher Box. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. We're gonna usually we do like a YouTube breakdown. We subscribe to our YouTube. We'll get to Butcher Box in a second. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. But Butcher Box is amazing. YouTube.com/pick6. Hit the little subscribe button, turn on the alerts, you hit the subscribe, then you hit the bell if you're watching on YouTube. If you're not watching, go there and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Like the video and join us for our live recaps post-game on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, plus 1 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. 1 p.m. Tuesday, mock draft show with Ryan Wilson and draft experts. 1 p.m. Thursday, pick show with me, RJ White, and Pete Prisker, breaking down all of the games from the slate. Before we get into football chatter, are you aware that Deebo has prepared a Chris Farley trivia quiz for you?
Yes.
Right.
Love this.
Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We need some
like theme music.
Yeah, or like some
Jeopardy or something.
Weakest Link or Who Wants to Be a Millionaire music.
Oh, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has got a great little jingle. If you
very intense. I don't know if it's a jingle so much as like but yes.
All definitely not a jingle. That was actually the opposite of what you'd probably want to make it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. The jingle's like.
No, I would trade Regis Philbin for you any day. If we play this
absolutely. Game. Yes. No offense to Regis. All right, we'll start. What Big Ten city was Chris Farley born in?
Oh my
God. Big Ten city. So you can narrow it down a little bit there.
Big Ten city. Big Ten city. It's funny because it's like town or city. It's really kind of giving some stuff away there.
Let's. I would. Do you want to give you a hint?
Yeah, give me a hint.
Okay. If I were associate, you can associate multiple animals with it, including a large cat.
Multiple animals with it.
Yeah. A large cat. Even a big cat.
You're saying Chicago?
No, it's close, but no.
Well, Northwestern's there, so it'd be like Evanston or whatever. But
it's a town. It's a town.
Yeah, it's a town.
Yeah,
it's a town. This is getting off to an awful start, by the way. I wish I was more prepared for this. So thank you both for that, putting that in the rundown. I don't know.
Madison, Wisconsin. Badgers won, and Big Cat. Big Cat. Dan.
Right, Big Cat went there, but he's not from there.
Yeah, no, but I was trying to do it on the fly.
You're just trying to get Big Cat to give you a shout out for making.
No. I don't care about that. I was just thinking of two animals. I couldn't say Badgers. You would have guessed Wisconsin immediately.
You could have just said, placed on a lake or something. I don't know. Okay. Which kind of makes sense because Chris Farley, I do feel like he went to Marquette in Tommy Boy, right? That was where he was at. So it makes some sense.
Yeah. What year did Chris Farley make his SNL debut?
No idea. Had to have been 94.
Oh, so stopped you before 4. 1990 was the answer. These are hard.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I was 6 years old. So again, This is a terrible game that you used to play.
It gets better now. On a 1991 episode.
Why don't you do this? We ask Will these questions to see if he has any idea.
I would have missed.
You claimed you were the biggest Chris Farley fan in the world last week.
It doesn't mean I'm a nerd and I look up stuff like this. It's not like I had a poster of him on my wall. Nerd. No.
A little Chippendales poster on your wall. It's good. On a 1991 episode of SNL, Farley appeared in a weekend.
I was 7 years old. Was not allowed to watch SNL at that age. But please proceed.
But you might have seen it since then. Farley appeared in a Weekend Update sketch as U.S. Army General Norman Schwarzkopf. Who did he challenge to a boxing match?
Evander Holyfield? I don't know.
Ding, 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 ding. He got one. This is a lucky stab at this.
It's a lucky guess.
Yeah. Chris Farley appeared in a music video in 1993 for what musical act?
No idea.
Okay.
I assume rock.
It is a rock band.
Okay.
It's not
Popular
grunge.
band?
It's not
Okay.
grunge, but it's like right. It's like they're a California band, closely associated. Ding, 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 ding. There you go. Do you know
I
what
would have never known that, honestly. I would have never known that.
This is actually, the song was Soul to Squeeze, which was never released on an actual Chili Peppers album, only released as an individual single, I believe. And on the soundtrack for
you understand how specific this is? I mean, how many people would actually know that if it was never actually released?
It was recorded. It was that's right. It was a B-side. It was never featured on the record Blood Sugar Sex Magic. It was released as a single in 1993. That's right. Oh, the Conehead soundtrack. That's what it was on. That's how they got Farley into the mix, is because they were working with Dan Aykroyd on Coneheads.
Okay. That makes sense. But that still ties back to the SNL days. So, yeah.
The video is set at a traveling circus with the band members playing various freaks and makes several references to Coneheads, including a cameo from Chris Farley.
There you go.
And finally, Chris Farley was originally cast as the title character in what animated film prior to his death?
Oh, man.
And I'll give you a hint if you want it.
Panda?
No. Here's a hint. The animated character, multiple sequels to this animated character, and it was eventually played by one of Chris Farley's SNL castmates.
Okay, that's a lot of people. Not sure that helps. Can you give me like a time, like a year, roughly?
Yes. Let's see. 2001. The first one came out.
Oh, this is hard.
In fact, the chief protagonist was played by an SNL character, and his sidekick.
Let me ask you this, Will.
Yeah.
I was 17 years old. What were you doing at 17 years old? Was it watching cartoon movies with Chris Farley in them at that age?
I did not watch this movie until much later.
Okay.
Because out in 2001, I was 20.
You probably watched it once you had Robbie, right? Once you have a kid, then you started watching that stuff.
I mean, I knew about this, but I didn't go watch it.
I honestly have no idea. I can't even think of like a animated Disney film that was around the 2000s. Again, I was 17. I know Deebo wasn't into this kind of stuff, but I had other extracurricular activities going on at that point.
Shrek is the answer we were looking for.
Okay, and then
Mike
obviously, who's it? Michael Myers, yeah.
And then Eddie Murphy was the donkey in Shrek.
Murphy.
Yeah, Shrek holds up, man. Shrek holds up.
Shrek was funny. All three of them, right? There's three.
I think there's like 4 or 5 now. I don't.
Oh, geez. See, there we go.
Okay, let's get into some football. Deebo, do you want to grade Brady's trivia responses? I would say that Deebo, I would give
grade my quiz that I made.
It's an A+ for effing up Brady's claim that he's the greatest.
Well, let's just peel back the curtains here. So not only are we like running late a little bit, like we don't have a ton of time given like parameters of what I've got to do today, but this is what we start off the show with without any forewarning. And so not as if like other things from movies that Chris Farley was in. Instead, we're talking about everything else outside of that.
Right.
But I get it. I set myself up for this because I talked about my fandom of Chris Farley as an actor, not like the person, not like I was like, hey, let's follow the footsteps of the drug use, partying, and all that, right, Deebo? But that. So that was how we went into this. So thank you, Deebo, for this. Yes.
I have a feeling that this is going to linger with Brady as like a you're an athlete, you're a quarterback, chip on your shoulder, like you're gonna think about this. I think this is I would not have gotten. I don't know that I would have gotten any of these.
Because honestly, who would, if you're not giving any forewarning, like at least let me know if I should look him up on the Wikipedia page to look up certain things. Like, hey, what town was he born in? Things like that.
Well, and actually, I had a rundown opening the email that Deebo sent to you and me, and I'd forgotten to open because I'd restarted my computer. I'd forgotten to open up the actual document. I opened up, I was like, "Whoa, what is this Chris Farley trivia stuff?" And there it was, waiting for me in full. Let's talk about some young rookie quarterbacks. You were a young man when Farley, was doing all this stuff, all this trivia stuff. Let's talk about some young men as well. The rookie quarterbacks.
Big transition.
I don't know. What were you doing at 17? Were you starting for the Jaguar? Starting for the Patriots? No,
not yet. I was making my way to Notre Dame.
That would be illegal. That would be illegal for you to be starting for the Patriots.
That would have been, yes.
Yes. How would you rank the rookie quarterbacks? If we take 5 rookie quarterbacks, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, we'll take Zach Wilson out since he's hurt. Or you can put him at the bottom. I don't know.
Sure, now he's started more games than Fields right down there. Yeah.
Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Davis Mills, Trey Lance. Hard to really.
Yeah, I think Trey Lance is the one you can kind of throw out only because he wasn't ready coming in the season. We all knew that. He definitely looked like he wasn't ready when he did get his opportunities. So,
do you think Kyle Shanahan wishes he had Mac Jones right now?
I think he wishes he had Aaron Rodgers. I think he wishes that whole trade that was supposed to go through would have went through, and they'd be playing with Aaron Rodgers right now. Maybe there's still a chance for that. Like, to be quite honest with you, I keep going back and forth of, all right, with what they gave up to get Trey Lance, did they make that bet? Now they have to lay in it, or can they just say, yeah, we'll move on and we'll give up whatever we need to get Rodgers, whether that's Lance going there or Lance going somewhere else as a 3-team trade, or keeping Lance on the roster until Rodgers is done, let Lance sit for a number of years, and then let him learn behind him before we have to thrust him in there, right? So a lot of different ways to go.
The problem is that the CBA only allows you to trade X number of picks out into the future in terms of like drafts. Like you can't trade a 2028 NFL pick in 2021.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm saying the 49ers are out of ammunition. Like they don't have anything to trade.
Right. At this point, you're trading players. You're not trading picks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I mean, it's possible. It just makes it a lot less likely without those first round picks that they have.
Sure. Well, there's also the chance that, after this year, Rodgers is, can decide to do whatever he wants to do. So however he orchestrates it, right?
Sure. That is true. He could have the power to say, hey, I want to go to San Francisco, trade me there.
Right.
I don't care if Denver's offering you 2 first. We had a deal. Send me to San Francisco for George Kittle or something.
But again, this is all in relation to Trey Lance and that whole situation. But anyway, I don't know that you can fairly assess where Trey Lance is at this point because, he wasn't prepared to be the guy. He didn't look like he was going to be the guy right now. There's a lot of growth and development that's needed there. So I think he's the one that you put kind of the wayside. Probably even Davis Mills too. It's not like he was prepared at any point in time to be the guy this offseason coming into this. Obviously, with the injury to Tyrod Taylor, then you got to put him in. And at times he's flashed kind of a guy who I think ran closer to NFL-style system at Stanford, but he didn't play a lot of football at Stanford, dealt with a lot of injuries. And he's been given a pretty tough set of circumstances given everything going on down there in Houston. So it's hard to really put a grade on him or ranking him because I think it's unfair to him. But all that being said, I think I would put him honestly, I think ahead of Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson's been the worst of this class. And it looks even worse when you have Mike, who's never had an NFL start his career, throw for over 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. And everything you saw from Mike White, you're like, yeah, why isn't Zach Wilson operating that way within the system? He's getting the ball out of his hand quick. He's anticipating, throwing it with, rhythm and timing. And Zach Wilson was doing that in the preseason, but the biggest difference between preseason and the regular season is, those guys aren't game planning for you. They're not trying to take away your first read. And if you go back and watch the preseason of Zach Wilson, what you'll see is a lot of first read opens, first read throwing in rhythm, accurate with the football. When you get in the NFL, now they're trying to take that away from you and make you work to 2, 3, 4. And that's where the difference is. He's holding on to the football too long. He's forcing the football downfield in the spots where the guys just aren't really there. And it feels like Mike White obviously hasn't been as prepared for this moment within that system, but he's more prepared as far as understanding how you have to operate within the NFL. And I think Zach Wilson's still playing like he's back at BYU behind an offensive line that's giving him all day versus a group of 5 schedule. And so it might be good for him to sit and watch Mike White and watch how he plays and think like, this is how I need to be out there playing. But right now, you'd have to say that he's the one that I think if I was the Jets, not necessarily looking into next year's draft, but like if Rodgers was available or Wilson was available or Deshaun Watson was available, like I'm going after him. Like I'm trying to make this thing work. And I think you've seen enough so far from Zach Wilson where he's the one that I'm most concerned with, even as tough of a situation as he entered into.
Well, the thing with Zach Wilson is he flashes all the, he has these moments where he flashes, right? He, big time.
I've never been somebody who felt that way. Like everyone who says that, you're just like, oh, you mean where he like scrambles out and throws a ball up downfield?
Yeah, that's
like that's not going to survive in the NFL. No. Like that's not how 85%, 90% of your plays are going to be orchestrated. Maybe even more than that. Maybe it's closer to 95%. So if 5% of your throws are that, great. But where does that get you? I mean, look at Patrick Mahomes now in the way he's played at times.
Say Mahomes, yeah.
So, like, if that's what you want to hang your hat on, okay, that's 5% of the time maybe that you're going to play quarterback in the NFL. Good luck with that working.
No,
so all the talk about the flash, I haven't seen much flash at all. Like, he makes some throws, you go, okay, cool, he's got a great arm. Mike White's got a great arm. He showcased that this past game. Like, everyone in the NFL has got an NFL-capable arm, otherwise they wouldn't be there.
Sure. No. I'm not saying that he's flashed as an elite like pocket passer or an elite quarterback. There's just have been, I guess things have been so bad for the Jets that you're trying to take for several years, right? Not just like over the past couple of months, but it's like you try and take something that's good. Like
Sam Darnold made better throws during his time there than Zach Wilson has at any point in time this year.
I would agree with that.
I can go back and show you pocket movement, stepping up, making a guy miss, turning and slinging a football in a hole that Zach Wilson would have either been sacked or would have, held on the football and maybe thrown an interception. So it's so far at this point, like he's the one that's last and I think is the most concerning, no doubt in my mind. Like no flash is nothing. And I get it. He had the hardest situation to enter into, but he was also prepared the entire time to be the guy. I think that's the concerning thing is, at what point during this whole evaluation of this year do you say maybe we need to look at some other options?
Well, and it's also fair, I think, to say what the Jets have done, which is, draft Sam Darnold with nothing around him receiver-wise, nothing in terms of protection in front of him, let him fail out, kick him to the curb for a second-round pick, and then just bring Zach Wilson into the exact same situation. I don't know, guys. Maybe try a different approach to building out a roster.
I would actually say the situation Wilson entered into is better.
For sure.
The offensive line is probably better. You have Corey Davis. You have Denzel Mims, who's more seasoned or experienced. Like Herndon's finally healthy. Like you've got other pieces that are actually now there. I would actually make the case that I think Zach Wilson actually has a better situation than Sam Darnold was dealt, and he's struggling even to this extent. So again, he's a rookie. You don't want to be too hard on him about it, but I had some big concerns and reservations coming in. I never understood all the hype. One of my concerns too is his size and him getting hurt. Now he's hurt and he's not even playing right now. And it had to do with two things: him holding on the football too long and taking that hit, but also just the fact that he's not going to be able to absorb as much over a 17-game season.
For sure. All right. So who would you have above Wilson? Who's the next worst guy?
Well, I mean, I hate how you're phrasing it. I think Justin Fields falls into that category. But look, he wasn't prepared to be the starter. As I'll say on repeat, as Matt Nagy said forever, Andy Dalton's our starter. Andy Dalton's our starter. When Andy Dalton's healthy, he's going to be our starter. So that didn't help as far as getting him prepared. Justin Fields, I think you still see, at least I still see from him that upside, whether it's through his athleticism or he'll make a couple throws. You go, okay, there it is. But it's a byproduct of that system. Their offensive line has not played well. Their defense isn't even playing up to the caliber it has been. So there's just a lot of concerns in general, I think, about where that team is at. And obviously he's struggled, but not set up quite the same to be able to succeed, I think, as compared to Zach Wilson, who was drafted in day one, was the guy moving forward. And even though they have some pieces on the outside, whether it's with Allen Robinson or Mooney or Cole Kmet, it seems like they're having a hard time figuring out ways of getting those guys open or getting them the football. And that's a direct reflection of some of the struggles with Matt Nagy. That has nothing to do with Fields, because it doesn't matter if it's Dalton or Fields. They're all struggling to do the same thing.
Matt Nagy.
That's right, dude. I've really got to get that out of my mind and say it how you say it.
It's not Nagy.
It's Nagy.
Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Matt Nagy.
Nagy.
It's fine. You can be the only person who calls him Nagy. I don't think you have to worry about. I don't think you have to worry about pronouncing his name.
I'm the only person. I don't think I'm the only person.
No, you're not. And the good news is you probably won't have to worry about pronouncing his name for very long because the Bears look like. I mean,
shots fired by Willie Brinson.
I mean, does what the Bears are doing I mean, I agree with you. Fields has had some moments, but his offensive line is miserable. I mean, he's constantly under pressure. You know, he had his first ceiling game running the ball, 10 carries, 103 yards last week. But that's also not sustainable. Like, just can't find Allen Robinson. What
kind of a big guy? Like, I think early in his career, I'm not saying he's gonna be Cam Newton.
Yeah,
but like he's got some elements where he could run around a little bit, or like Josh Allen early on kind of did that to be able to be competitive and get some wins. Like, I think he could get away with it. The one concern I have with him is just processing. It was that way when he first got to Ohio State. I remember I saw him in the spring. I wanted to go check him out. I was like, oh man. Or excuse me, a training camp before the season started. They had a scrimmage. He had just gotten there. I was like, either the offense is just way behind or he's going to struggle this year early on. They didn't put quite as much on his plate, but as the year went on, the more experience he got better and better and better. And then by like year 2, granted COVID year, cut down season, you still saw kind of the benefit of him playing more and more, probably capped off by how he played versus Clemson in the semifinal game. And so that's where I feel like he's at. Like, he's just one of those guys that needs to get more experience, more comfortable. I honestly feel like he'll be playing his best football after week 10 this season. Like, I think that's where he'll start to turn on, play better. Now, I don't know what's going to happen out around him. I don't know how Matt Nagy and him potentially being impacted by what happens there. But I do think he'll play better the more he ends up playing. And that's not always the case, especially in a bad situation.
Fair enough. Okay, so clearly you've got, I would guess, you have Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones
too. And then Mac Jones obviously has been by far the way. It's like Mac Jones and the rest of the class right now.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit as to be expected. He ran more of an NFL style system. All the things that he did when you watched him on tape, you're like, this is going to translate to the NFL level. You know, his pocket movement, his timing, his anticipation, he was accurate. He's smart. What they asked him to do at the college level, all those things you knew were going to be a direct, transition to the NFL, help him excel. The problem is like, I don't know, like, how much better is he going to get? I mean, he's really more dependent upon what's out around him. But, when you look at this offense, he had probably the best offensive line of any team that was, drafting a rookie quarterback. They have a running game. He's got one of the best play callers, in my opinion, in Josh McDaniels. So all those things were stacked up for him to succeed. So you're kind of like, well, no crap. Of course, he looks to be the best right now. And then helping kind of keep them in the hunt for a playoff spot. And then there's Trevor Lawrence, who, is dealt. I think going into it, I was like, all right, like, it's next to the Jets. He's, I guess, had a quarterback competition. I'm not sure what the hell you call that. But as far as the roster goes, he was gonna struggle. Like, it wasn't that much better of a wide receiver group, and the protection has been spotty at best. But the difference is, like, when you said flashes with Wilson, like, you actually see flashes to me with Trevor Lawrence. He makes some throws where you go, holy cow.
Yep.
Like, that guy's got a cannon. So I just think there's enough upside. And I think the more he's played, the less he's held on to the football as long, the better feel he's gotten for it. I get concerned when, like, Jamal Agnew is starting to be the most targeted receiver on your roster at this point. That's a problem. Like, that's going to be a problem for you moving forward. They lack the ability to have guys separate, hence why they're looking at a guy who's been a returner and had a hard time getting on the field in Detroit, but now is like the number one guy of late for the Jaguars.
Yeah, if you look at like Mac Jones versus Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence at Clemson had talent everywhere, right? Loaded defense, loaded receivers, good offensive line, et cetera, et cetera. And obviously Mac Jones had that as well. You drop Mac. I don't know. I sort of feel like this is all kind of played out in a way that we knew when we went into the draft, in the sense that Mac Jones had a really high floor, and we didn't know about his ceiling, and maybe he can grow into a bigger ceiling, but he went to a really good spot for him in terms of what he can do well. Like, I don't think he would be crushing it in Chicago.
Well, I was just going to ask you, so let's play the game of, let's put Trevor Lawrence on the Patriots. How does he look in that system? Because I think he balls out. Like, I think like he would have no issues whatsoever. I don't know that Zach Wilson would. And the reason why I say that is, like, when you think about that offense, the timing, precision, everything else, that's not how he's played, at least this year in the regular season. So that's question there. I think Fields, they could make it work. But maybe it would take him some time to get the grasp of it and all that. Davis Mills would probably excel in that. That fits more of his skill set of what he's been asked to do. So it's kind of interesting. Just
I agree with that.
If you put any of those guys in that New England system, like who would excel? Trevor Lawrence would be talking about as the top of this class, I think.
We would go the Pats like competing with the Bills for the division title, like I think very easily if you put Trevor Lawrence in that system because his upside is so high and you can coach the most out of him. I think that the Pats could make Fields work, but they would probably use not more of the Cam Newton playbook. But they would
say like there would be some of that mixed in.
Yeah, they would blend his rushing skills and get the most out of him passing. But yeah, I mean, like Mac's been really good, and he's had to it's a tough spot to be in. I mean, it's not easy to be a rookie quarterback in the NFL.
It's not easy to follow Tom Brady, and I know he's not directly following Tom. We had Cam, we had what was last year, but the reality is that's who he's drafted to kind of replace, and his skill set is more similar to Tom Brady than it is Cam Newton. So that's the other tough part is like when you've got to take that guy on in Foxborough in your rookie year, and there's all these like high hopes and aspirations, all the Patriots fans that I know, like that's what they're hoping for. They're like hoping he can replicate what Brady and Belichick did. And it's hard to break it to him, but I don't see that ever happening again in the NFL, whether it's Mac Jones or any other quarterback.
Probably won't be another 20-year dynasty in the NFL. All right. You mentioned it off the top, and we got to get to it because, man, I mean, I love all podcast sponsors, but boy, do I really love Butcher Box.
There's nothing like Butcher Box.
There really isn't. For nowadays in 2021, you can get anything delivered to your house, including food. It can show up, you can have food cold packaged, delivered straight to your house, organic, quality, high-end meat, grass-fed, free-range organic chicken, wild-caught seafood, 100% grass-fed beef, all kinds of delicious items.
That's delicious. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like that's the thing about Butcher Box that separates, I think, from other food delivery services is the quality of the meat. Like, I mean, sure, I was overrun with the quantity of the meat because they sent us a lot of meat, and you saw me tweet it out and put it on Instagram. But they go out and get the best possible meat. Their sourcing decisions are holistically made. They keep the farmer, the planet, the animal, and your family in mind. Always delivering products you can trust, and it's delicious. I would say so. We made tacos. We did a the chicken breasts are fantastic. I was really super because I found out you can go and shop for chicken breast. You can get the value chicken breast. You can go get the free range organic ones, but like you don't expect necessarily chicken delivered to your door to be that like thick, that juicy, that that fresh. And I was shocked and amazed by it.
No, I'm amazed by the quality of it. Like you hit on that, but really, when we talk about the steaks, the fillets, the strips, everything to it. Like I am getting ready to have some fillets from Butcher Box when I go home tonight. And so I can't wait for the show to end just so I can get closer to that moment where I throw those puppies on the grill and be able to cut those things open later on.
How do you prepare your fillets?
Here's the thing is it all depends on the quality of the meat. And with Butcher Box, the quality is so good. I don't have to do much to them. All right. I really don't. Maybe put a little butter on there, maybe a little sea salt at some point, but that's about it. My wife likes to put on this Montreal steak seasoning. She really likes that.
Of course.
But that's it. Again, when you've got quality meat, let the meat do all the talking. You know what I'm saying? We're like, you don't need to do much to it.
No, I'm with you 100%. You could even, instead of the butter, you could do a little bit of olive oil.
Yep.
Maybe,
my
my dad,
wife does that a little bit. She likes that.
A little olive oil, there's a little bit of fresh basil on top just to kind of get the, and then you cook it on the grill and flip it. Obviously, I was the one of the things that they're doing, the promos that they are offering, I believe, is that, and this is not the one that we're reading, but they do have a thing where they're giving like ground beef or ground turkey that you can get added to your box. And we made, I know tacos, so I was like, can I make tacos? Like, is that cheating the quality of the meat? But I went on and looked on the Butcher Box website, and there was actually taco, like good, like taco option recipes, stuff to do. Not that you need, a full blown recipe for, cooking the ground beef, but the ground beef, fantastic. I mean, it is high end, and you didn't feel like you're eating, like a mealy, there's the fatty meats that you get from the grocery store. This is high-end ground beef. You could tell it was 100% grass-fed.
Tacos. Come on now. You got meatballs, you got a little bolognese for those out there. Like to make a little meat sauce, all of it. It's perfect for all of that.
Yeah. Anyway, all of the meals that we have had have been fantastic, and we haven't even really opened up the full power. Like, we got more coming. It's fall. It's time to be out grilling. I'm excited for it. You can get some ButcherBox sent to your house because every month ButcherBox will ship a curated selection of high quality meat right to your home. No antibiotics or added hormones. Each box contains between 8 and 14 pounds of meat. Depending on your box type, that's enough for 24 individual meals, packed fresh and shipped frozen for your convenience so you can save time on your next grocery store trip. Customize your own box or go with one of theirs. Either way, you get exactly what you want. Free shipping for the continental U.S. And for our listeners, skip the lines for your Thanksgiving turkey. This holiday, ButcherBox is proud to give new members a free turkey. That's right. If you listen to this podcast and you want a free turkey, all you have to do is go to butcherbox.com/pick6, PICKSIX to sign up. That's butcherbox.com/pick6 to receive a free turkey in your first box. No lines. Don't deal with a freaking turkey store.
None of it. It's not like in bowling where you have to get the 3 strikes in a row to get that turkey. You just get it free with your first box.
All you do is go to butcherbox.com/pick6. Turkey's coming to your house. Man.
That's right.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my mother-in-law to sign up for ButcherBox. Just be like, hey, Shishi, I got your turkey handled for free on the podcast.
She would be so appreciative of that. Like, that's how you get her off your back right now. Because I know, look, not to peel back the curtain too far, but talking before the show, I know we were talking about that. She's kind of been on you lately. She's kind of been on you.
We were talking
after Halloween. That's what I heard.
Generally speaking, she's usually the Thanksgiving, Christmas can get hectic as you try and you're married. You gotta navigate the waters of your spouse's your in-laws, your spouse's family. My spouse has a lot of family.
I'm usually working on most of those holidays, so it's like I just kind of show up. Like, usually they're taking care of all of it. That's why, again, like, ButcherBox is a great deal for them because it takes the stress away from the extra stuff that's added on them since I'm not present. Or maybe I add stress. I'm not really sure which way, but either way, it helps them out.
Yeah, I mean, look, Christmas Eve a few years ago, there's an NFL game. Yeah, I gotta go podcast, guys, with Brady there. And my in-laws were like, Tom.
That's
Brady?
right.
I was like,
That's
no,
right,
not
baby.
Tom. No, I'm not podcasting
together. I can't say that with too many people.
That's right. Yeah, Christmas Eve together. I can't say it with many people either. Okay, let's talk about the playoff picture. We told people to bet the Chiefs a few weeks ago. I'd still say bet the Chiefs, honestly.
Yeah.
Plus 170.
They won what? I mean, they won this past week.
4-4. They're like
right. They're 500.
Yeah.
I mean, the stuff that's come out now about Henry Ruggs, which I'm not going to get into the specifics, but that could impact one of the better playmakers on offense, depending on
almost seems certain to impact the Raiders for a stretch of this year.
Denver, I mean, Bowles isn't playing as well at the tackle spot, but a little bit banged up. Their linebacker core is decimated. You get rid of Von Miller in a trade. Yeah. Like, okay, what are you signaling to your locker room? And then I think you look at the Chargers, which, got off to a hot start, maybe not looking quite as good as they once were. So I think the door is open for Kansas City. They've played awful, and they're still finding a way to be a 500 team. If they can just stop turning the football over, which is a big if, and improve defensively, which I think they've showed signs of that, they can be a team that wins that division.
Okay. The current AFC odds. Let's find some good bets and bad bets in here. The Titans are first in the AFC. Derrick Henry done for. It's weird.
They're ahead 3.5 games. Look at their schedule the rest of the way. I mean, they'll easily get the 10 wins. At 10-7, I think they win the division. So that to me, it's done. It's a wrap. It's over as far as the Titans win their division.
Yeah, and the Titans should get to the playoffs. And even without Derrick Henry, the Titans are not going to have. It's going to be like minus 2,000 or something like that because they swept the Colts. The Colts have to be a game in front of them. We talked about this on the podcast on Monday, I believe. The Raiders at minus 150 to make the playoffs. The Raiders would actually be my pick, Brady, to miss the playoffs of all the division leaders out there.
I'm with you with the news of Ruggs. That's concerning, but I think outside of that too is like, can they continue this path offensively and make enough defensive improvements? I mean, look, they've been better this year, but not where they need to be. I think that's a team that ends up, unfortunately, kind of falling off in the wake of John Gruden no longer being there, maybe one of your biggest playmakers, and next thing you know, they're on the outside looking in.
Could easily happen. So that I would say that was if you're getting plus money on the Raiders missing the playoffs, that's probably a bet I would consider making. The Ravens at minus 800, you can't really bet that. The Bills odds are obnoxious because they look dangerous and have a very good record. The Bengals,
I feel like the Steelers though, like the Bengals, maybe we'll see how that division shakes out. Obviously, the Ravens seem to be a shoo-in. I'm still on the Steelers. I'm telling you, do not write this team off. Cleveland looks like they're fading. Cincinnati, as good as they look, I feel like something tells me there's value there on the Steelers. That's where my eye is attracted to. And I'm like, all right, it's worth laying a little bit of money on them. I said that back when they were at the bottom of the division. I think what were the odds for them to win the AFC North then? It was like plus 1,800.
Yeah, it was like 12 to 1 or something like that, maybe.
Something ridiculous. And like that point, you're like, might as well lay a little bit of money on it. It's only going to improve moving forward now, but their odds to make the playoffs, I think they're starting to find their rhythm right now.
The two best bets, I would agree with you on the Steelers because you're getting plus money.
Yeah.
And I think it's a byproduct of Ben Roethlisberger refusing to let this season he's just refusing to let what is likely his last season in Pittsburgh, maybe his last season playing football, be a disaster. And Mike Tomlin's a great coach. And they're sort of scotch taping it together.
He is not taking that job.
So. The USC job? No kidding. I mean, yeah, it's insulting that anybody would even ask. And then the Patriots at plus 120 to make the playoffs. I love the Patriots at plus 120 to make the playoffs. The AFC is wide open, man. I'm surprised that number is what it is. They are, they have Mac Jones who's playing well. They have a good defense. They have Bill Belichick, and they have a run game and some receiving weapons at the tight end position. They're starting to come on strong.
They'll be in the mix. The concern is the AFC North, I think, is going to have multiple teams. Just depends how many. Yeah. Like whether or not we're going to say the Bengals, Ravens, maybe Steelers 2 or all 3 in. I mean, that's potentially what you're looking at. And then how many come out of the AFC West? If you're looking at the Chiefs saying they're going to win the division or they're going to make a comeback, where the Chargers sit in that conversation. So the problem is I think if you were ranking like the best teams in the AFC, I don't know that I'd put the Patriots ahead of any of those teams I just mentioned.
Sure.
But they'd be right there after that. So like it's a Bill Belichick coach team. The ball sometimes bounces their way. It just works out that way. So to your point, maybe worth taking the risk here for plus money.
Yeah, and the Patriots also still have the Panthers, the Falcons. They do have to play the Bills twice, and the Bills have shown a willingness to dominate them. But they also get the Colts, Jaguars, and Dolphins. So there are a lot of winnable games. The Browns as well there. We would ask, like, I don't think Jamie Eisenberg's a professional, like per se, but walk in front of the set.
He can't hear you right now. He is in the room. He can't hear you, but I do have to go on set for my other obligation.
All right, that's fine. We will very quickly bring up the NFC teams to make the playoffs. The Panthers at the 7th spot are 6-1. The Vikings 220. 49ers 180. Maybe the Seahawks or the 49ers for me to make the playoffs.
I'm getting a lot of heat right now. It's literally time for me to go on set.
All right, well, look, that's it. That's the Brady Quinn Football Show. We'll cover the NFC next week. As always, Brady, a pleasure. Tell Jamie he's an unprofessional pile of crap and that tell him his start of the week with begin this week. And I do not appreciate his unprofessionalism. See you, man.
See it.